So today's class is getting found in AI search. This is a topic that I've been thinking about doing a class for quite a while, and I've been getting a lot of training on this topic especially over the last maybe 6 months, but over the last 3 years, I've been in two different programs where they go into depth on this, and I've had a couple, at least one for sure, lead that we got that just found us from ChatGPT. It just came about. This guy, I had a conversation with him, new lead over the phone. He called in, and usually I get kind of an idea of where they found us. They'll say, "Oh, somebody, um, Kimberly referred you," or they'll give a name. And so I get to the end of the loan app with this guy, and didn't uh, he didn't really give me any indication of where I found him. So I just said, "Well, hey, where'd you get my name? Where'd you get my phone number?" And he goes, "Well, all right." He was a little embarrassed by it, kind of, but he goes, "I just asked ChatGPT for a mortgage lender in Yuma, and it recommended you." So I thought that was pretty cool. So I tell Kimmy about it. I tell my wife. And so she tries it. She's big on Chat GPT. We just went to Italy a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago now, and all over she would be like, "Hey, we're right here. What's the best gelato place that's non-touristy?" And like she was asking Chat GPT every little thing and getting recommendations from it. So I know people use it. So she asked her Chat GPT, and it mentioned like three completely different people. It didn't even bring me up. So that was irritating. So it's not an exact science, I guess, is what I'm saying. I think I know all you guys. You all know me. I'm Daniel Jackson. I've been with Nova Home Loans for 15 years now. 23 years as a mortgage lender. I think like 19 of those in Yuma. I got here in 2007. Um, Here's something that I thought was interesting, and this is crazy because this is why AI is so important, and mastering this is such a big topic is because it's taken over. Like when the internet came out in 1991, it took 7 years for the internet to gain 100,000 users. 2004, Facebook came out, and it took them about 4.5 years to hit 100 million users. YouTube, 4 years. Instagram, 2.5 years. When ChatGPT was released in 2002 or 2022, it took them two months to hit 100 million users. So this is like taking over. And I mean, we all know this, but as it continues to get bigger and more widely adapted, then things are just completely changing. The way that people find us online is changing. The way that people interact with the internet is completely different. It used to be that you would have this kind of sponsored ads at the top of Google. So people would Google stuff and say, "Hey, how do I find a Yuma realtor?" And you could pay to be sponsored at the top of Google, and that would work. Whoever was paying more money would get more deals and more clients. But now more and more people are bypassing Google, and they're not just Googling things, they're asking AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever people are using. And the way that AI recommends people is very different than the way Google does it on a Google search. AI doesn't care who's paying the most for ads, at least currently. It's looking more for consistent, verifiable authority across lots of different places on the internet. So that's what we're going to talk about, and I'll show you some ways of making sure that you're the one that gets found so that you're just dominating these searches. Um, Okay, I think this is worth going over is that so before SEO was the most important thing, search engine optimization. So I have a brother-in-law that's what he did. That was his whole job was helping companies to optimize their web presence so that they could be found by search engines. I hope he has adapted what he does because that's the old kind of out of date model of doing things now. And now it's more about earned organic searchability than it is about ad placement and pay-per-clicks and stuff like that. So the metrics now is more about having consistent information across all the different platforms, lots of different places on the internet. And then you want to have your specialized content distributed everywhere instead of just having your one centralized website. The website's important, but having your content be searchable and findable everywhere is going to help you get found by AI. So if you think about AI as like an aggregation engine, it's looking at lots of different places on the internet, It's scraping the data from all these different places. And if it's finding your consistent message across lots of different platforms, then it's going to trust you. It's going to give you a higher trust score, and it will be more likely to recommend you to people that are searching for your specific niche. So, um, the hierarchy of influence is the most trusted places is going to be number one by far is your Google business profile. So, you want to have your own. Does everybody have Does everybody already have a Google business profile for you specifically? Yeah, maybe. Kimberly does. Okay, so having your Google business profile is number one. We'll talk about that in a bit. Your own website and then blog posts where it's specific, kind of local content that you're writing about on your blog, super important. And then high authority would be like YouTube. And it doesn't watch videos. Like AI can't just watch a video, but it can read the transcript. So what you're saying is way more important than how many views you get or how polished the video looks. The words in the transcript is what matters the most. So different real estate portals like Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, and then any podcast that you do as well. All the podcast platforms automatically transcribe the what you're saying, and then they put it out there. So that's very AI searchable. Social media, and then local communities like Reddit. I don't know, has anybody ever gotten a deal from Reddit? Okay, I never have, but well, we'll talk about it a little bit more in a bit. But there are subreddits for lots of different local communities and topics. Like there's first time homebuyer subreddit, and I've gotten on there just to read about that. And it's pretty fascinating the answers that people are getting from so-called professionals or just people that are out there that will go in and share their opinions on Reddit. So I think there's a wide open opportunity there to be found. Okay, so let's talk about the Google business profile for a minute. You're going to have a profile image at the top, and then it shares your reviews, which is awesome. And if you can coach your clients on uh, the way they word their reviews in order to be AI searchable, then that's something that can make a big difference. And how you respond to the reviews to be AI searchable is also really important. But if you can have it be as specific as possible and then updated constantly, like actively posting, so treating your Google business profile like a kind of like a social network where you're posting updates and just signaling that you're active out there in the business. Um, we could probably do a whole class on just setting up Google business profiles. I'm not the expert at it, but I've gone through, I think there's like 6 hours of uh, training that I went through on just setting it up, like step by step. Okay, do this, now do that, click here. And it's good stuff. It's interesting. But like one little tidbit here is when you're uploading a picture to, uh, to your Google business profile, whether it's a picture for, um, what do they call it? Your products or your updates, you want to uh, what do you call it? Rename the file so that it's has the words in it. So you don't want it to be image 1, 2, 3, 4. You want it to say otherwise put like Yuma real estate, uh, whatever the neighborhood name or whatever it says before uploading, because AI is going to be reading the file names. Anything that's text based, it's going to be looking at that and reading it. Um, so very important. Now, Google reviews is the number one thing that you can do to get AI search results. It's the most trusted thing that AI looks at because it's on your Google business profile, and then it's real people, verified reviews that people are having to go through the verification to put them up there. So whenever you get a win or a compliment from somebody, or even if you're doing like a post-closing call and talking to the client, if you can ask them, what's one thing that I did really well for you? And whatever they say, will you go on Google and leave me a review? That's a super simple script that you could use to just ask for reviews. Um, yeah, asking for reviews is super important, not just from customers, but also from other industry professionals and things like that. So, um, send me your Google link and I'll leave you a review on there and we can get started with this together. Um, Number two is YouTube. So YouTube, they say video is the ultimate AI food um, because it's YouTube is made by Google and you have the transcripts, the videos are transcribed automatically within there and then they're AI searchable. They're also searchable just like a search engine where someone goes on to YouTube. They say that YouTube is better for building your local authority because it has more high intent viewers. Like people will just go on TikTok and scroll and not really pay attention to what they're looking at. They're not looking for anything specific. But if someone goes on YouTube and they specifically search, um, hey, show me homes in Yuma in the College Park neighborhood or something, then they're going to be very specific and they want to see them. So people could watch you might have a 12-minute video of you just rambling about Yuma and the neighborhood and the heat or whatever it might be. And people will watch the entire thing. Whereas you're on TikTok and they'll watch maybe the first 1.5 seconds of it and then they scroll to the next one. So the number of views doesn't necessarily matter as much as just putting out a volume of content where you're talking a lot on the videos. Um, so the strategy is hyper local community tours, show off neighborhoods, the schools, the amenities, and just talk. Well, it says generate robust dialogue. I mean, you want to just talk constantly in it and talk about the neighborhood, the schools, just anything that's going to be a trigger word that's going to lead people to find it. Um, that's a that's the second thing you can do to really build authority. Okay, we talked about Reddit a little bit. There's another one called Quora. I downloaded both of these apps, I don't know, like a year ago, and you get in there and I've never posted in there. It kind of freaks me out a little bit. It's a little bit scary, but it's also anonymous, if you want it to be. So you could go and because of that, people will go in there and just completely give terrible information. But you have people that are genuinely looking for stuff, like just go and search on Reddit or Quora for specific subreddits that would have your target customer in them. So like if you like working with first-time buyers, well go look in Reddit for first-time home buyers and there's subreddits for it specifically. Um, Let me see. The ones I have is like yeah, single family residences. Where's the other one? How do you even do this? Announcements. Financial independence is one where I get a lot of people where they'll ask a whole bunch of questions that have to do with housing. I mean, they're thinking, hey, how do I build financial independence through real estate? And then you'll have people in there that are just bashing on real estate. So it gives you the opportunity to kind of come in and talk. There's one called the real estate bubble, where people are talking about how, oh, this is a real estate bubble. So it's interesting because there's agents in there that are kind of negating the other people that are just bashing on real estate and saying, hey, everybody, real estate's past its day and you should never buy real estate. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity to get in there and share authority by making comments and talking to people, asking questions and stuff like that. And there was an agent actually just came back um, from a training a seminar in Chicago, and there was an agent there from Texas, and she said she gets all of her business from Reddit. And everybody was like, what? Reddit? Nobody thinks about it. And because nobody thinks, like most people are just not thinking along those lines, the field is kind of wide open. So I'd be curious to see what you'd find in there. Okay, another thing is write the book. Now, AI looks at published authors as automatically as the authority figure. Also, because when you publish a book, you're more likely to get more backlinks and people talking about you and news sites and stuff like that. So if you can write the book, and here, this is one I have not implemented. It's kind of scary. It looks a little hard, but by writing a book on your specific niche topic, you become an authority figure automatically, which will help you in your AI search. Okay, fixing your front door. Now, they call it the NAP. Having a consistent NAP is important, which is name, address, and phone number. So you want to have a consistent name, address, and phone number. This is like the first thing you can do. Very easy. Go on all the different sites and make sure that your name, address, and your phone number are all consistent. Um, it's pretty shocking. Like sometimes I'll get um, contacted by an agent, or maybe I'll have like a listing agent or a buyer's agent that I haven't worked with before. And then I try to look them up and you can't even find them, or you get three different phone numbers, or it says they work at two or three different companies because they haven't updated their profiles and stuff. And so make yourself easy to find is the number one thing that you can do. Uh, to get this going. Like fix your digital front door. Like AI is your front door. Make sure that it can find you consistently across everywhere. Huh. It feels silly to even talk about it, but that is just make sure that now I went through a service called experience.com, and they do this audit across like 61 different websites, and then they go and fix your profile. So because of that, it actually made me change my name on my Google profile. I always had it said the Jackson team dash Nova Home Loans, and they just changed it to Daniel Jackson. That way, because of AI searchability, you want it to match everywhere, and that way you have the same name everywhere. So now my Google profile just says Daniel Jackson, which people Google Daniel Jackson and it comes up with like Stargate references and stuff. So I'm not the first result, but what can you do? Um, Okay, so have a consistent name, address, and phone number across all of them. All right. The other thing, number six on, I put together these six things that you can do, and this is number six, is AI cannot recommend generalists. Okay, the riches are in the niches, they say. So if you look at the target there and it says, well, if you put yourself out there as I'm a realtor in Arizona, well, that's a very wide target. If I'm a realtor in Yuma, that still is a pretty wide target. If you said, I work with active duty military families who are relocating to Yuma, Arizona, that's a very specific niche, and that's something that will make you very easily recommendable in that niche by AI, which is pretty awesome. So the magic is in having a specific buyer niche, like just choose who your target audience is. Hyper local geography. I mean, Yuma, perfect. And then that will equal AI search recommendation. So the person who tries to be for everyone, and I'm glad Paula from my team is not on this call because she gets on my case that I always want to say yes to every deal. Um, but being something, being the saying yes to everybody means nobody's going to be able to find you. You got to be specific, and there's a lot of power in that. I mean, you'll see the agents that are doing this kind of thing where they're targeting in on a specific niche. They're killing it right now, and it's going to become even more so in the future as this continues to grow and people are relying on AI more. Okay, so I'm just going to give you and this is going to be, we're going to go through this quickly, but I'm going to give you what we call the content flywheel, which it's super daunting to think about how do I create content and how do I, like, if I want to be searchable across everywhere, how do I create YouTube videos and Instagram and, written posts for Facebook and blog articles? I mean, how do I do all that stuff? And the fact is that you don't have to do all of it individually. Repurposing your content is what we call the content flywheel, which means, okay, we start with here in the middle, record one long form YouTube video. And I would recommend as an agent, just choose a listing that you have or someone in your office has, choose a listing and just go record a video of the listing. And by long form, that means like 4 minutes or longer. So you could do 4 to 12 minutes, could be 20 minutes of you just need to have stuff to talk about, but record that video of a walkthrough of the house, talk about the neighborhood, talk about the areas, the amenities, what it's like living in Yuma, maybe some restaurants and coffee shops that it's close to, stuff like that, of recording that long form video, having a good transcript where you're saying a lot of stuff that's about the local area, and then you can post that to YouTube. Now it's going to generate a transcript, and you can just copy and paste that whole transcript and post it on your website as a blog post
Hello.
that links back to the YouTube video. And then you can use either CapCut or
Well, I webinar, but that's
dang,
okay.
I should have thought about this. The other one I use is Captions, and then there's a few different apps that will take what was the other one called? I can't think of it. But Captions, CapCut, a lot of these video editing softwares will use AI to cut up your long form YouTube video. You just give it the link to your video, or you upload the original video into the service, and then it will cut it up into shorts for you. It could take a 1 12-minute video and give you like probably 9 or 10 um, little segments of it that you can then post as to TikTok or as Reels on Instagram and stuff like that. So that's a great thing where you only recorded one video, but you could turn it into 20 different pieces of content. So you extract the transcript, put it on your blog. You can plug that into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever you use and have it rewrite it for a blog post. Have it kind of clean up the transcript and stuff. You don't even have to really do a whole lot of writing yourself. You can just read it through and fix it. Um, and then extract the Q and A's. Like this would be one you could take that whole transcript, copy and paste it into, say, ChatGPT, and say, all right, extract any Q and A's out of this and format it for a Q and A section on my website. And it's gonna spit it out and give it to you. And then you can use some of those Q and A's to either like post them to Reddit and say, hey, has anybody seen this? And they'll and ask a question that came up from your video. Um, Stuff like that. Post them to your Google business profile. The core principle is you do not have to recreate unique content for every single platform. I take my videos, so I do the short form videos that I do for Instagram. I post them to Instagram. It automatically pushes them to my Facebook page. We post the exact same thing to TikTok as a YouTube short and LinkedIn. And then we take an audio ver or we take the transcript version of it and shorten it up to put on X, Threads, sometimes text post on Facebook too. So you can go across all the different platforms in that way with the same kind of content. Okay, do we have any questions or anybody want to jump in and say something so we don't have to just listen to me the whole time before we move on? Okay, if anybody has any questions, throw them in the chat or just unmute yourself and we could talk about it. No question. All right, moving on. Think of a good question. Okay, so reverse engineering the machine. Here's the genius thing about AI, depending on how much you've used it. But if you want to start out, the first thing you could do is uh, just go ask ChatGPT, hey, I'm looking for a real estate agent in Yuma. Would you recommend me or not? Ask it and see what it says. Now, you got to be careful with ChatGPT because it really is programmed to be a people-pleasing platform. And so it'll say, oh, what a great question. You're a genius for asking that question. And then it sees that you are that person and it may not give you as accurate results. Like if I ask it for a lender, would you recommend me as a lender? Oh, absolutely. But then if my wife asks, then it gives her a different answer. So the recommendation is try Perplexity. Um, because Perplexity, you can go on there without a login. It's not going to know you from anybody else and just see what happens. It might give you more accurate information. And then the other one that just ask it, okay, what specific information is missing from my digital footprint for you to rank me as the number one agent in my area? Just ask it and see what it says. It's going to give you some ideas and pretty powerful right there. Um, Yeah, super easy way to start. Just ask it what it recommends and ask it how you can move up the rankings, and it'll give you some ideas. Now, I put together a little 3 week framework on how to get started with this stuff on fixing your digital profile and moving forward. So we'll go through that. Anybody think of any questions before I jump into that? Oh, we have something in the chat. Great content. Oh, thank you. We'll be able to watch this over again. I don't know how great this recording is going to be, but yes, I will. This is being recorded, so I'll see what I can do with it, and then you can rewatch it. Yes. All right, 21 day framework. Week number one is basically your profile audit. So you want to go through, start out with the questions that I just showed you, where you're asking AI, and then ask it to identify the blind spots and just get an action plan from there. It's going to tell you some stuff to do. Now, these things kind of take time. It's work. I would like just take your laptop, open it up in bed at night before you're sleeping. Probably bad advice. Shouldn't be looking at screens after 6 p.m. So forget that advice. But sometime when you have some downtime, I would just start out with that as number one. Just go on ChatGPT and ask it those questions. All right. So then claim, verify, and lock down your Google business profile. If you don't have your Google business profile, it's time to set that up. Sometimes that is a little bit difficult. Like Joe from my office was doing his, and the issue was, well, Nova already owns the address, and then I already have mine also attached to the address. It made him jump through some hoops in order to add this as his business address as well, but it is doable, and he got it going. Um, but yeah, it made him do like a video walkthrough of the office and all right, show us your name on the door and stuff like that. It made him jump through some hoops. So you might have to do that, but it's totally worth it. It's totally necessary because um, your personal brand is what matters more than your company name in this day and age. And being found online is definitely tied to your Google business profile. Number three, standardize your name, title, and niche, your phone number and address across all the different social platforms, the brokerage website, the real estate portals. Just hunt down, I mean, go back to the old school and Google yourself and see what comes up. I had one when I did this that was like an old software. What's it called? There's an old mortgage software that we used to use that still had me tied to a previous company. I've been here for 15 years and it still showed me at the previous company on the old software website because it's just outdated stuff. But I was able to go in and fix that. So you'll be shocked what you find. So if you just take the next week and do that, then you'll be well ahead of a lot of other people in the business. Week two is start publishing stuff. Okay. Identify the top 50 highly specific questions your exact niche of buyers ask during the process. Oh, which, how are you going to find that? Where are you going to find questions? Okay. Ask AI what questions. Okay. Here's an awesome one. I wrote this down from a thing I just went to. Ask AI what questions are consumers asking you before they talk to a realtor? What questions are buyers asking you before they come and talk to an agent or before they ask for a recommendation for an agent? I think that's just a genius question to ask it. You know, what I wrote down, ask AI what questions are consumers asking you before talking with a mortgage loan officer. That's pretty smart. I haven't done that one yet. I'm not to week two, I guess. So, but I'm going to do it. But asking it, and you could even say, help me identify the top 50 highly specific questions that my buyers, once you identify your niche of who you're going to target, um, give me the top 50 questions they're asking you, and it will give you the list. So identify those, which is going to give you just a ton of great ideas for creating content. Um, there's no there's no shortage of content ideas out there, and you don't have to recreate the wheel. Okay, and then step two on week two is record one of these videos. It doesn't have to be a home walkthrough. That's, in my mind, that's probably the easiest. It's like the low-hanging fruit because when people think about real estate, they want the house and you have access to the house. So why not use it? Um, but tour the neighborhood, you know, take some videos of the view if there's a view. Um, you could answer some of those specific buyer questions that came up in section one. Um, you know, talk about financing options that are available, a lot of, you know, down payment assistance. You could talk about all that stuff in addition to the neighborhood, things that are specific to the area. All right. And then number three, extract the transcript from that video, publish it as an AI index blog post on your website. Um, and if you don't have a website, you could create one for free on lots of different places, but you should have a website. But if you have a website where you can post AI index blog posts, then that's really going to help you out. All right. That's feeding the algorithm. Now we get to week three of our 21-day, 3-week plan, which is optimize and scale. Request keyword-rich reviews from 5 past clients and industry partners. Okay, I could be one for you. Um, but requesting those reviews and keyword-rich reviews would be, all right, let's say you're going to target, okay, I'm going to be the first-time buyer realtor. So if you've done any deals for first-time buyers recently, reach out to one of them and say, hey, I'm working on my Google. Or I'm working on my online presence, and it's really important to me to have some reviews. Would you mind writing me a review about a recent transaction? Most of the time they'll say yes, and you can say, all right, part of what I'm doing is optimizing for AI. Can I just give you some options of what it's gonna or what we want it to say. And people are usually very open to this, and you would want them AI, the keyword rich just means it could say something like, "Hey, Sonia helped me buy my first house in Yuma, Arizona in the College Park neighborhood. She was great, and I re highly recommend her for for any first-time home buyers in Yuma." I mean, that kind of review could go miles for you on the AI search. And then you could go and respond to that review on Google and say, "I love working with first-time buyers. It was such a pleasure working with you. Welcome to Yuma, and congratulations on your first home." And putting it that way, it's just going to get just the AI is going to explode over that. It's going to lose its mind. Um, Take week two's core video and post targeted text snippets to your Google Business, LinkedIn, and local Reddit threads. So find the interesting parts of it, the ones that might be applicable to everybody or anyone that's interested in that niche, and turn them into little text posts across different platforms. Brilliant. And then warming up the algorithm, schedule 15 minutes a day to engage, like go online and like and comment on posts on your target social media platforms before posting your distributed content. So what happens like magic, where if you go in and you make comments, you go through people's stories and you can like and heart them and make comments and send them messages. The more that they're interacting with you and you're interacting with them, the more your content's going to be pushed up in their social scrolling. Like you'll see you more often if you're interacting with them. So pretty cool. The other thing I've been doing is asking people when I meet with them to follow me on Instagram. So, I have an Instagram page where we just purely put out educational content to try to help home buyers to make sure that they're asking the right questions and getting good information. So, would you give me a follow? And people do it. So you pick up followers and then you interact with them. And then they're just more likely to see you because what happens, people come in, they meet with you, and then they're going to be searching for your online reputation even after they've met with you and they know you and they like you. Part of building trust now is going back to the online reviews and just seeing that social proof of other people and what they're saying about you as well. So super important. Um, Okay, this is a quote that's going around. I've heard this lots of different places, but AI is not going to replace the real estate agents, but the agents who understand how to be found by AI are going to inevitably replace those who don't. So this is super important. Buyers are educating themselves way further into the process. I have a guy that's been building his custom home for like a year now, and we're coming down to the end, and he's like, "Hey, I was just searching in AI and about my situation, and it said that the average interest rates are this, and it never ends. It's further in the process. It used to be they would maybe Google some stuff and look some things up and then ask you in the beginning and then okay, they trust you. But now it's like all the way down to the last minute. People are educating themselves, which I think is awesome. But we have the opportunity to jump in there and be the ones that are providing the good education and being found by people. So, um, all right. Well, we are 34 minutes in. That actually went a little bit longer than I thought it would. But anybody have any questions or anything else you want to talk about? Is anybody awake? Okay. Well, I'll either send a recording of this or maybe I'll record it a little bit. No, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna take the own advice and we'll just send out the recording so you guys could watch this. And if anybody wants to dive deeper on any of this stuff, let me know. But no questions. Jasmine, anything in the chat? Can you email the slides? Yes, I can do that. Loved it. Thank you. Great info. All right. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you coming. I hope this is helpful. I hesitated to do this topic because I know I'm not the world's greatest expert at it, but I have had a lot of training on it and some stuff has worked for me, and it still is a work in progress. So we can all get better together. And I feel like I had talked about being in coaching for a while, and having a coach that's maybe just like one or two steps ahead of you is so powerful because it doesn't feel overwhelming. It's not like, oh, this is the world's authority on this, and or this agent's doing $1 million a year. But having someone that's just a step or two ahead is just more reachable, in my opinion. So I hope this was helpful, and reach out if I can do anything for you guys. So thanks for coming.